My batteries are so low, physically and metaphorically. So I'm gonna do a face mask. Welcome to I eat gummy worms that I got at a vending machine at university today and do a face mask and talk about life until my battery runs out. Have you ever felt like this? Where strange things happen, are you going round twist? First port of call, port of order, port of ship. I always get that phrase wrong. I don't know how it goes. Someone help. I got this beautiful letter from my granddad. My grandmother said he was writing it, so I knew it was coming, but it's such a lovely thing to receive a letter in the mail. I think a lot of us forget how something that's seemingly trivial can actually make your entire day, your entire week, your whole life. Oh my gosh, I can already see his handwriting and it's so gorgeous and beautiful. He loves animals and beautiful things. Look at that. Isn't that just stunning? And it's so funny because I'll put a picture in, but I stood and stared at these birds that they're sparrows, and they remind me of home because there's a heritage place in Greenough where there's this church. This is a weird story, but there's this church there in Greenough at this settlement, this historic settlement, and it's filled with sparrows. I don't know what time of year we went. It was quite cold. It might have been winter, and there's sparrows just filled this church. And I remember it was one of the first times I was taking photos with this camera with my uncle, and it was just like the most beautiful thing ever. And I saw 2 sparrows today, and I hadn't seen them in so long. I don't know if they're sparrows or robins, but again, like I said in my last video, I don't know my birds, but that's okay. I'm learning. And yeah, they were just so beautiful, and this reminds me of them. This just makes me so happy. Write letters to your loved ones and keep them in your heart forever, because it's just really important. And I'm gonna cry, but I'm not gonna cry because this is beautiful and it's lovely. Kangaroo paw is for them and everyone that lives far away, and how much I cherish that. So I know I'm not a bad granddaughter. I try my best. But yeah, I do miss them and wish I could spend more time with them. Anyway, I'm keeping this forever. Now I'm crying. But yeah, I'm feeling better than my last video, by the way. I was pretty depressed in that one, I won't lie. And now I'm a frog. I'm gonna put this somewhere really nice so I can look at it the whole time. Let's do a face mask. I'm going to put this Natio face mask, and I like it because it's kaolin, bentonite, lemon, palma, rosa, sesame. That's gotta mean good stuff. It's kind of hard to talk about stuff when you're also doing a thing. I just got stressed because everyone puts on face masks really nicely, and I find it kind of hard to do that. Yeah, these birds, they just reminded me of a time that I almost forgot about. Everyone's always appreciate the little things, and I quite do, but remembering them over time, it's very special when little memories like that come up. They have more significance over time. I don't know. Anyway, and sparrows are meant to be I think, are they the ones that are visitors? They can be loved ones visiting from the other side. I was walking and this one bird was sat on this nail that was dug into the wall, and it's quite high up. And so I thought, oh, I'm just gonna I've got 30 minutes, I'm gonna take a second because I don't need to rush to where I'm going. I can do a little dilly-dally. I sat there and I just kind of stared, and we both it was so funny. In my head I was like, oh, it's so weird to be observed and also be observing this beautiful thing, and I wonder what it is thinking. Does it perceive me as a threat, or does it see me as someone calm, Can they read that through their instincts, or is it something they're not really sure of? I don't know. And we might never know. That's really interesting to me. And anyway, we were just kind of like telepathically communicating. I had this really beautiful song called The Limbic System on in my headphones, and I was just like kind of wigging out in the beautifulness of it all. And like at least 4 people passed, and no one really looked up at what I was looking at. Like I was like fixated on this bird, and I was like, how is no one seeing it? It's so beautiful, and it's right here. Saw this kid on his phone. He like looked at me a bit funny, but he was looking down at his phone, and I was like, I pointed up and I was like, there's a bird. Like so childlike and weird. I was just like, there's a bird. See him? And he was like, oh, there's another one. And then on this little light fixture next to it, this bird had sat down, and it was the same kind of bird. And they must have been friends. Just felt like one of those moments where the universe was being like, you need to chill. Like, just take a moment and relax. Look at this bird. Think about how you are just the same as this bird. You're only experiencing a life in a different body and in a different brain. And really, you're not much different from that bird in many ways. And yeah, it just really made me think. And I love moments like that. This is like one of those days where it was very synchronistic and very beautiful, and it felt like everything was working out. And other days it really doesn't feel like that. So this is where I come back to those little moments, like me as like a 13-year-old with this camera taking photos of those sparrows with my family in the middle of Granite, and now me at university seeing these sparrows on this little ledge as like a reminder of that time and that place and who I was. And love is truly everywhere, and everyone is a refraction of everything, and everything is a mirror, and right now I am a frog instead. But yeah, that's the moral of that story, I guess. When you see a bird or a funky thing that you just don't see that often, stop and appreciate it. If you don't stop to look around once in a while, you might miss it. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I remember when I got my first little digital camera, and I took a photo of a graffiti that said that. And then years later I figured out through someone that I loved that it was a movie. And we watched it, and it was the best. It was such a good movie. I look like a ghost in this lighting. I think what helps remind me that everything's gonna be okay is that I was talking to friends the other day, and I was like, well, the universe will never give you something that you can't handle. Everything is a challenge, and it's a lesson. When you see things as lessons and not as problems, it's much easier to be like, oh, there's a way we can solve this. There's a reason I'm going through this. There's a reason I'm being shown this. And lessons come up multiple times, and they come in different areas of our lives. But I've been revisiting lots of old lessons because it's that time of the year. I want to read out what my friend and I wrote today. We chose the word kettle, and then we wrote about it, and we made a song poem thing. Kettle called the pot black. No eyes to see what's reflected back. You hypocritical insomniac, whistleblower is all you are. Hit boiling point and settle into the sound. A tea means a lot to someone. Remember how you like it. Some honey in the mug. Offer a seat. Lend an ear. On the surface simple, a grand gesture to some. If grief can be held in the heart of a kettle, even if only for a little, maybe the pot will no longer meddle. And this is my friend's portion. I suck in the vaporized steam, only a breathful flowing up from the spout, crafted with the sole purpose of antagonizing hydrogen molecules to the point of boiling, how they must detest the metal elements that make them so mad. They run and bump and jump. If you were a kettle, what would make you boil over? Fuzzy, bubbling, a low hiss, spitting heat like Leviathan from the deep, but you're just small, glossed with glass. The light clicks off, the kettle's boiled. And I'm really excited for when we make that into our song. We made that up in like maybe 20-30 minutes and made a chord progression, and I was so happy with that. Can't wait for you to hear it all together. Maybe one day we'll record it, but it's just a little taste of the stuff we've been doing lately. 2025 is the year of collaboration, and I want to co-write and I want to make things with other talented people, because I know so many. There is an abundance of amazing songwriters, amazing poets, amazing humans that are just like bursting with this creativity. And collaboration, it's like the saying, like, two heads are better than one. Someone said that today in class and I was like, you're so right. They are. It's always going to be better when we can help each other and make things together. And it's going to feel more significant and it's going to be more meaningful. This is Coming Back to the Poem, published in Recoil 10 by the Perth Poetry Club by Miriam Low. Coming back to the poem. I make an appointment with time and language. There is a music I'd like to pin down with words, something guttural, dissonance that resolves the childbirth groan of a mother that becomes the sigh of release. Sunlight on leaves, the green so exquisite it sings alive, alive, and catches. The heart on a hook of longing, after the silence of fear, a voice, tentative, testing, then building to full-throated roar, anguish like the bow of a violin stabbing, flinging, each note like drops of blood. Hope, opening like an electric riff, lead guitar leaping onto the stage, and a piano playing softly the final chords of an ancient hymn. Amen. How beautiful is that? I think that's all I have to say. Thanks for listening to me as I chat and yap away and put on a little face mask. I hope it finds you well and that you get a chance to breathe, and maybe you find a moment like the sparrows gave me. I'll see you next time.